Breaking news! The Detroit Lions are making some quiet but calculated moves in preparation for the NFL Draft, and one of those moves may have gone unnoticed, at least until now. Sources have confirmed that a well-known veteran visited the team last week. I'll tell you everything I know so far. But first, make sure you've hit the like button if you've been a Detroit Lions fan for over 20 years. If possible, comment something like, "Go Lions, my heart bleeds blue." Defensive end Demarcus Walker reportedly visited the team last week. The development was not initially reported, but now highlights Detroit's seriousness in bolstering its defensive line ahead of draft day. Walker, who is currently a free agent and has spent the last 2 seasons with the Chicago Bears, is attracting attention not only from Detroit, but also from other teams, such as the New York Giants. He's been in the league since 2017, originally drafted in the second round by the Denver Broncos. And while his early career was marked by inconsistency and injuries, he's found more stability in recent years. In fact, he played all 17 games with the Tennessee Titans in 2022 and has maintained that reliability with the Bears. Over the past 3 seasons, he's recorded a total of 14 sacks, including 7 during his breakout year in Tennessee. At age 30, soon to be 31, Walker isn't a long-term solution, but he might be exactly what the Lions need in the short term. With Alim McNeill expected to miss the beginning of the season, and with ongoing concerns about Marcus Davenport's ability to stay healthy, adding a seasoned, healthy pass rusher could be a critical move for Detroit. Davenport, who was signed on a minimal deal, might not even make the final roster if he can't stay on the field, making the potential addition of Walker even more important. The stats don't lie. Demarcus Walker's 3.5 sacks in the 2025 season are on par with what McNeill managed last year. That kind of production, combined with Walker's improved durability, suggests he could be more than just depth. He could be a legitimate rotational piece or even a starter opposite Aidan Hutchinson. And let's not overlook Hutchinson here. He desperately needs a consistent partner on the edge. The Lions can't expect him to do it all himself. Financially, Walker signed a 3-year, $21 million deal with the Bears in 2023, which carried an average annual salary of $7 million. He had $10.5 million guaranteed and a $2 million signing bonus. That contract is now a reference point, but given where he is in his career and the fact that Brad Holmes loves short-term deals, a 1-year contract could be on the table if Detroit decides to pull the trigger. It would be a classic Holmes move, low risk, potentially high reward.
But here's where the plot thickens. There's growing fan frustration around the idea that Brad Holmes might not use one of his first 2 draft picks on an edge rusher. History hasn't shown him to prioritize that position early in the draft. Despite glaring needs and talented players available, Lions fans remember times when the front office passed on plug-and-play defenders like Jalen Carter in favor of projects or skill players. That has some questioning whether the best player available strategy truly holds up when it's used to justify those types of decisions. The idea of adding Walker before the draft raises questions about Holmes' draft strategy. Does this move mean they're preparing to go another direction in the early rounds? Or is it just insurance in case the board doesn't fall their way? Either way, depth on the defensive line is critical, especially with McNeill out and questions surrounding Davenport. The timing of this news is also curious. It feels like the second time in recent weeks that fans have only learned after the fact about a player visit, which raises questions about the flow of information from inside the organization. Whether this is a strategic move to keep plans under wraps or just a breakdown in communication, it's something to keep an eye on. For now, what we do know is this: Walker has been healthy, productive, and he's available. The Lions need help on the edge. This could be a perfect fit, but will Holmes pull the trigger, or will he stick to his usual plan and roll the dice in the draft? Let us know in the comments. Do you think the Lions should sign Demarcus Walker? Do you trust Brad Holmes to find Hutchinson's running mate in the draft? Or should Detroit double down and do both? And here's the thing that makes this even more compelling. This isn't just about patching up the depth chart. This is about sending a message. Signing Demarcus Walker before the draft, even to a short-term deal, would tell the locker room and the fan base that the Lions are not just hoping the draft solves their problems. It would show that Brad Holmes is willing to make calculated veteran acquisitions to shore up critical weaknesses, especially when the clock is ticking. Now let's talk about fit. Walker's versatility along the defensive line is one of his biggest assets. He's played both inside and outside in various schemes and has experience under multiple coordinators. His time with Shane Bowen in Tennessee is particularly notable. Walker thrived in that 3-4 hybrid setup, which isn't far off from what the Lions ask from their edge defenders when they mix up looks. He's not going to beat offensive tackles with sheer speed off the edge, but he's got strong hands, plays with leverage, and uses his experience to win matchups that younger players often don't. That type of savvy presence could be invaluable in a room that's still developing. Aidan Hutchinson is clearly the alpha, but surrounding him with consistent, assignment-sound veterans would go a long way in helping this defensive line become a strength instead of a question mark. We've seen how much the loss of players like John Kaminsky or Charles Harris impacted the unit's consistency last year. The Lions can't afford to go into another season thin and hoping for health to hold up across a brutal 17-game slate. But let's circle back to the draft for a second, because that's really the elephant in the room. Fans are torn. Some believe Holmes is locked in on taking an edge early. Others feel burned by past picks that didn't address glaring needs. And still others just want to see the front office show a clear vision, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where Detroit made strides last season but still fell short in key moments. There's been chatter, some from insiders, some just speculation, that Holmes might be eyeing a trade-up or a surprise selection on draft night. If that's true, adding someone like Walker now could give him the flexibility to pull the trigger on a high-upside player at another position if the draft board falls a certain way. That's where Walker's presence would be strategic, not just practical. He gives the team a veteran floor, so Holmes doesn't have to reach for a need. And look, let's be real, if Walker signs, he's not guaranteed to start. But he would compete, he would push Marcus Davenport, and more importantly, he would make sure no one on that line gets too comfortable. That kind of internal competition is what makes teams sharper heading into training camp. You don't want guys coasting, you want guys fighting for reps, and a veteran like Walker brings that edge, literally and figuratively. The fact that he's flown under the radar this long is what makes this so intriguing. It's the second time recently the Lions brought someone in and fans only found out days later. Is that stealth mode by design? Or is the information just leaking out slower than usual? Either way, it fuels speculation and makes the lead up to the draft even more electric. But while the fan base debates edge rushers and trade scenarios, there's another layer to all this. It's about accountability. Brad Holmes has done a lot of good things since arriving in Detroit, but this draft feels pivotal. The team is close, really close, and decisions like whether or not to bring in a veteran like Walker are going to shape how far they go next season. If this front office gets it right, the Lions won't just be NFC North favorites, they'll be contenders. So let's break this down to the raw truth. Demarcus Walker is available. He's productive. He's healthy. He's experienced. He knows how to get to the quarterback, and he's not going to cost a fortune. If you're the Detroit Lions and your mission is to win now, how do you not seriously consider adding that kind of piece to your defense? And finally, for the fans, this is where your voice matters. Do you want to see Brad Holmes make a proactive move and sign Demarcus Walker now, before the draft? Or are you confident the answer is coming through the first 2 rounds of rookie selections? Do you trust the strategy of letting Hutchinson carry the load with unproven depth behind him? Or do you want another proven guy lined up across from him, right out the gate? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you roll with Marcus Davenport and cross your fingers? Or are you all in on adding Demarcus Walker to the squad before the draft clock starts ticking? This is your team, your defense, your voice. Let's hear it. Go Lions!